Hey, and welcome back. So in the last video I showed making the cover plate for the upper rear door jamb area here. It has quite a few holes in it, and as you can see there's no place to attach a headliner panel to, so I need a rib support there to be able to screw the panel to. So I glued up some 2x4s and ran them through the planer and used this template to get the lower part of the arc. Then I centered the roof rib on the cover panel and aligned it to a mark that I made that is where the headliner panel is going to hit out, and traced out the upper arc onto the roof rib. Once that was done, I decided to eliminate the legs that I had went through a considerable amount of time making on the cover panel, as I was done locating the cover panel and really didn't like the way it looked. So I said, hey, I'm just going to cut it off and I'll figure out something else for that area down the road. Before making any headliner panels, I realized that I needed to have some kind of a stand to hold the panel in place while I was working on it, and so I used the Panta-Router and cut approximately a 12-inch slot in this 2x4 and used it to make a stand out of scraps so that I could hold the panel in place and be hands-free. The stand worked out great for holding the panel in place. You have to play with it a little bit to get it centered up, but once you have it centered, it'll stay exactly where you put it, and it made doing tasks like marking out the fan location very easy. I just put it in place and got on the roof and took a pencil and marked it out. And when I was installing the lights, it allowed me to hang the panel down a little bit so that I could plug the electrical in. And of course you could make that slot with a standard router with a couple of centering pins. It would be a little bit more difficult to get it clamped up and get it in the right place, but you could easily do that with just a handheld router. To make sure all my panel mounting holes were in the same location and to get a nice clean hole, I just made a board out of scrap, and I made sure the spacing was about 3/4 of an inch from the edge, and I can just align that board to the edge of every panel, and that'll put my screws evenly spaced exactly in the right place and save a lot of layout time on each panel. I'm using 3M90 high strength contact adhesive to apply the material to the panel, as well as the Thinsulate to the van, and it's the perfect solution for doing this kind of task. It's way easier to work with than traditional automotive contact adhesive, which I have used, and hey, no spray gun to clean up. And it's also designed for high heat application, i.e. headliners. I've traced out the panel location onto the material and not sprayed that approximately 1.5 inch border until I get the one side of the panel down, and then I go back and spray again and get the back side of the panel. I'm taking my time to make sure that I get the panel aligned to the material, as this stuff bonds really well, so if you make a mistake, it's a done deal. The headliner material that I'm using is boat hole liner, and I have to thank the Evalanders for giving me the idea to use this. I was in search of the correct material to use and happened to watch one of their build videos and found out that, to me, that was the right material for this application. You can do a little bit of research on it and find out the properties, but it is good to work with. It's easy to cut. It's got some thickness to it, but it's lightweight. It's a really great solution. I'm using a piece of Delrin rod that I happen to have laying around to roll it out, and of course I did it a zillion times in every direction. I screwed a reinforcement piece with some magnets to the panel around the fan mount area. The magnets will give me a place to mount a cover to in the future, and the reinforcement, obviously, it just makes it easier to mount the fan. I have Thinsulate mounted to the roof of the van. There's an air gap, and then I have installed Reflectix with foam two-sided tape on the back side of the panel. And in my testing, which I did quite a bit of, I found that I was getting about a 10-degree temperature drop. I've seen where other people had issues with using Reflectix, but in my application, the way I've installed it, it's working good for me. I did some temperature testing on a bright 80-degree day and got a 160-degree reading on the roof of the van and 100 to 110 degrees on the headliner panel, and that's a significant reduction in temperature. The van has gone from the AC being able to hardly keep up to my wife telling me I'm cold pretty quick after it's running. If I leave the fan vent open while it's parked in a parking lot and just leave the fan off, we come back to the van and it's still comfortable. It's not super hot. You all know how it is to get into a really hot car. And just for a comparison, my Ram 1500 truck on the same day was reading 160 degrees on the roof and 130 degrees on the headliner panel. So it's made a huge difference in the comfort level of the van, and has really made it a lot more enjoyable. Also, I didn't see much improvement in doing the sidewalls. They pretty much stayed the same temperature as they were before I did any insulation, although that may be more beneficial in the wintertime. These are the factory Ford Transit LED lights, and they're awesome. They're really, really bright, and I wanted to use these because they're designed for an automotive application. They're not, like marine recessed lights or anything like that. And I'm sure some engineers spent an inordinate amount of time designing them. They work very well. They get about 115 degrees on the face, and the heat sink is about 100 degrees. The only problem with them really is the way that they mount. They're designed to mount into the sheet metal of the roof of the van, and so you need a metal bracket in order to do that. You can't just mount them like a normal round recess mount LED light. So that is the one obstacle to them. So I had to make some brackets out of 1/16 aluminum, which can be a little bit difficult to work with a milling machine. I don't have any sheet metal working tools, so there it is. And I've got some that are kind of radius there that I can use to mount in a cabinet or under something. The square ones are fine for the recess mounting into the headliner panel, as you will not be able to see them. And putting them on the back side of the headliner panel worked out great because they don't stick out like they did previously when they were just mounted into the ceiling of the van. The Ford price for these lights is about $30 a piece, quite a significant expenditure. I found some takeouts that were brand new on eBay for, I think I paid about $8 a piece, so it was a really good deal. When the headliner is completely installed, I'll have 8 of these LED lights in the ceiling, and 4 of them are the original on the key switch, and 4 of them will be on continuous 12 volts, so I can just leave them on indefinitely. And I made sure that I put them basically exactly where they were at in the ceiling before, which works out to be in thirds. So it's 63 inches for the panel, and it's approximately 19 inches from the edge and 5 inches from the other edge. I just used as an arbitrary number so that they wind up being in the same position on each panel. I left tolerance for the fabric in the hole there so that it looks correct from the bottom side of the panel, and I found that the best tool for finishing out the hole was just a half moon file. I used a drill and a jigsaw to just hack out the hole, and then went back and finished it with the file and some sandpaper. This material is quite thick, so it can be easy to lose your hole locations when you go to mount, so it makes it easy if you just mark it with a Sharpie, because it's going to be covered up with a screw head anyways, and punch it through with an awl or something, and make it easy to locate and get your screw through so it doesn't wrap up material around it. And you can see here that I've got the panel installed, and that was a test panel. I didn't put any Reflectix on just to confirm my temperature difference, and it was true. I was 10 degrees hotter on that panel, so I took it back out and put Reflectix on it. And you can see that I've got one panel left to install in the front. It's going to be the most difficult to make, so I haven't done that quite yet. And you can see that the LEDs are very bright with 6 of them in. I also managed to get a layer of Thinsulate over the factory headliner that's over the driver's area, and that made a significant difference in not only heat, but in the amount of noise that I was getting inside of the van, so it's made it a lot quieter too. I purchased my van off the lot, and it came with some great options, but one of them was not dual batteries. It just came with a single battery. It was lead acid. It was oriented fore and aft to the vehicle, and so you have to orient the batteries the other direction in order to put dual batteries in. That's the driver's seat pedestal with the batteries removed, and what Ford refers to as the pre-fuse box. If you have single batteries, you get one 60 amp customer connection point there at the 3 posts on the end. And if you have dual batteries, you get 3 60 amp connections there. So I need to add the other 2. And of course, instead of spending 30 bucks on the hard to locate kit that will allow you to do that, I just spent about $5 on fuses, and I made the other widgets. Ford uses a different battery box for the dual battery setup, so with a little ingenuity, I modified the box just slightly and added a piece of plywood and managed to make it work. It's a very tight fit, and just does make it as far as height goes, but it'll go. I'm not so happy with the battery cables there. That was just what I found at the local auto parts store. Whenever I do my house electrical, I'll buy some cable and I'll fix that properly. That was the air compressor mount bracket that I just fabricated, as well as this spacer to be able to get the compressor mounted up underneath the van. I found a perfect spot to put it right near where the fuel filler comes from the fuel tank to the outside of the van. Mounted the tank first, and you can see the clearance there to the fuel tank. I can still drop the tank with the air tank in place, and the red hose you see there obviously is the wrong hose. That's just a temporary installation. That should be a steel braided line on a big air compressor. That would be like copper pipe or aluminum pipe. Although I didn't run this compressor that hard, just one cycle, I can still touch the air compressor, so it doesn't really get that hot. Just wanted to get it installed and be able to use the van for the 4th of July weekend. And you can see where the wiring is snaked through an existing hole into the driver's door seal. I was able to get that in there without adding any bulk. You can see that it doesn't push up the plate. There's plenty of room there, and temporarily connected it to the customer connection point, as well as made a temporary connection here for the LED lights and the max air fan and refrigerator, which is coming soon. I'll show that, but I was able to use the fridge off of the vehicle batteries for the weekend with no issues. 12.9 all the time. And of course, that's also temporary. I'll make some kind of mount or manifold that goes there.
What did you do? You click Google? Google.
The wrens laid eggs. And the winner is Richard Culbertson. Just go to the About page on my channel page and send me an email, and we'll get it figured out. I use random.org to generate the number 23, which was the 23rd comment from the bottom of the page. Thanks for watching.